Hi there, everybody. Welcome into the show. It's Sunday evening. It's nice to present some nice quiet weather to everybody, although things are going to be kind of interesting here with the system diving south, a little bit of snow on the way. Yeah, we still have to talk about that. We still average about an inch and a half of snow in the month of April. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing any big accumulations from this, but unfortunately, we still have to deal with some of the flakes. And again, I say another week that we require a lot of patience in the month of April here in Northwest Indiana as we await a warm up. So good evening to you guys. Hope everyone's doing well after the weekend, starting to wind down the weekend here, obviously getting ready for the week. I had a lot of folks with families that are coming from spring break, maybe some still going on spring break, maybe some schools waiting until Easter week, which is 2 Sundays away. How about that? Late this year, right? Our family, we just got back. Like literally, we were hustling. We had a family function about an hour away. So we were hustling to get back. So I just sat down about 10 minutes ago. I'm totally not prepared, but I'm going to try to not show that. But anyway, I went through the models real quick. So we're going to kind of look at some stuff together and kind of go through the forecast over the next couple of days. And I've got a rain recap as well. So we'll get through all that. All right. All right. So let's jump in here and let me actually throw in a little pretty map for you to look at. Let me get through our sponsors real quick, guys. Bottom line, all of these sponsors are just family-owned businesses here in Northwest Indiana. There seems to be a trend where everyone's local to Northwest Indiana, and they're all wonderful people to work with. So we'll start at the bottom. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've got brand new Jeeps ready to go, including the new Wagoneer. I don't know if you've seen it. Pretty good vehicle. US 30 there in Valparaiso. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valpo. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She is our local lender for all your mortgage needs. Spring buying season is here. The market is hot. I'm checking Zillow every day, and I'm not even looking for a house. It's one of those. You're like, well, could it get better? I don't know if you're on Zillow like our family is. It's crazy. My wife's an interior designer too, so she's like all about just looking at houses just to see like the layout and stuff. But anyway, if you were looking for a new home, maybe your first home, starter home, or maybe you're looking for your dream home, Kate Cusack is the person that gets you ready. She is wonderful. She did a live shot with us back in the winter time. It was late winter. And she's just a fun person to work with, and she does a great job in terms of landing you a home. She'll get you pre-approved and ready to go so that when that house hits the market on Zillow, you're the first one in. You can get your offer, and you get the best chance of getting that. So make sure you reach out to her if you're interested. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. It's Kate Cusack Home Loan Girl on Facebook, or you can call her at 219-775-6645. Minogue.life. Michael Minogue's been working the world of Medicare, Medicaid, and life insurance for a long time now, and he says that a lot of people get tricked into signing up for something via phone, whether it be your something Medicare benefit-wise or whether it be life insurance. And there's a lot of misnomers to that, and he knows all of them, and he can help you go through your plan. You might be paying too much for whatever it is. You might not even know what benefits you signed up for, and you might have things you can use. So he'd love to sit down with you. No cost consultation. He'll sit down, go over your plan. There are no two plans that are alike. Michael Minogue would be happy to sit down with you and do that at Minogue.life. You can schedule something on there. TigerPlumbing.net for all your plumbing needs. Plumbers in big service right now with the spring season coming in. Have you checked your outdoor spigots yet? If they're leaking, if they're doing anything they shouldn't be, call Tiger Plumbing, or you can schedule on mobile there at tigerplumbing.net. Again, they'll come out for free, which is awesome, and they'll analyze the problem and do it from there. FBIbuildings.com, they have been so busy with all the damage, the storm damage across the Midwest in the last couple of weeks, reconstructing pole barns and doing new structures and renovating old ones. If you have any damage whatsoever to a pole barn building you have, whether it be commercial or residential, they do great work and they do quick work. FBIbuildings.com. Public Service Adjusters, it's publicserviceadjusting.com. If you have any insurance claims from these storms, please go to them first instead of your insurance company. Again, what they come out, they analyze the problem, they'll take pictures, they'll submit everything in a package to your insurance company, and they'll be the one that talks to them back and forth. You don't have to worry about it. They'll expedite the process, and they get you more money than what you normally get. FBIbuildings.com. Great Lakes Lighting. First impressions mean everything. Make sure your home is the envy of the neighborhood with expertly placed outdoor lighting that accents your home's architecture. Lighting is just awesome when you have it on your house versus not, and it's a good security feature as well. Their products and services not only help to transform your home's appearance, but also enhances safety and security of your outdoor spaces. I'll tell you what, they do great work. Great Lakes Lighting is the place to go for that. It's lightupnwi.com is the website there. If you have any tree damage, please go to T&T Tree Service. It's tough to say, but it's easy to type in your web browser. When it comes to tree removal, experience matters. T&T Tree Service in Valpo, family-owned company. They specialize in dangerous removals using modern equipment. Storm damage, emergency takedowns, they've done it all. They handle complex jobs safely and efficiently, and they specialize in insurance claims as well. They'll also work directly with your insurance provider to make it seamless for you, and they don't collect money at time of service. That's awesome. Trust the team with values, safety, integrity, and professionalism. T&T Tree Service serves Northwest Indiana with excellence. Call today or visit TT Tree Service, that's 3 T's in a row.com. And finally, last but not least, Romans Roofing. If you guys have any roof problems or storm damage or anything like that, whether it be business or residential, let Romans handle it. They provide retail and storm restoration options. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, you got it. They do a great job, and they're extremely fun. They have one of the best Facebook pages out of any roofers in the region. You should see it. They do these skits. It's really good, but they're also good at their job, and they're wonderful folks over there. Elijah I've been working with for a while now. All inspections and estimates are free, so they'll come out for free, tell you what they, everything's up front. Romansroofing.net or call 219-838-9111. All right, how's everybody doing? Let's see our early birds. Again, I apologize for getting in here kind of in a scramble. I wasn't speeding, but I was going a little above the speed just to get home so I could be with you guys. So I appreciate you spending time out of your Sunday with me. Let's talk weather. We'll give you some content here. Mary was the first one on board. Hi, Mary. I hope you had a nice weekend. I don't know if you celebrated your birthday this weekend or last weekend, but I mean, in terms of the party for everything, I hope you had a nice birthday, though. Danielle, happy Sunday to you. Darlene, hello. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us on our Facebook channel there. Derek, hi to you. Kim, hi. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us. Derek's with us. We got to get through this week and warmer temperatures. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. Jeff, good to be with you tonight, buddy. Grace is with us. Yes, it'll be nice to have quiet weather, although it does turn a little bit more active at the end. Carl's with us. Lori, hello. Dragica, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, let's jump into our podcast, shall we? Oh, let me see. Tracy just said hi from, I got 4 here. Nick, Tracy, Lola, and Gracie. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. Diane, good evening to you, too. I really appreciate it. I always feel like it's family, like a Sunday family dinner, like we all get together just at the table. Although I don't have food, but I've got weather, so there's that. All right, what we're looking at here, this is the rainfall over the last 3 days. And boy, does this match the models in terms of the output. I mean, they were all calling for the heavy rain. The reason why this all developed and why we had the heavy rain across the country, there was a big high pressure just off the coast of the Carolinas. And whenever you have a big high pressure this time of year, especially off the East Coast, it tends to stop everything to the west of it. That, and we also had a blocking pattern in place, but we'll talk more surface lows. And so as that high kind of stayed there for a couple days, that front that brought the severe storms through stalled, and then it came back as a warm front, and then it tried to make it through, and then it didn't, and it came back, and then it tried to make it through, and it finally got a good push out of here. It is pushing out right now out towards the East Coast. But because of that, we had just rounds and rounds of storms, typical storms that you get with a cold front that moved through, except for there were like 4 cold fronts in a day or a couple days with these rounds. And so some real heavy rain. I mean, this was life-threatening flooding. There were all sorts of flood rescues and high water rescues in areas, and you could see where it targeted. Indianapolis down to the south. Look at some of the numbers. So Indy, 3-day total, 0.31. Just south of there, down towards Bloomington. Well, I don't think these numbers are actually matching very well. Actually, I don't think they're matching at all. No, they're not. So they're not matching up. I was going to say that number seems a little bit low. They got several inches in Indianapolis. Then downstate, I think we were like 4 to 6. And then this area right in here was over 10, some of those bright pink areas. For us here in the region, we had kind of a sharp cutoff where we had some showers from time to time, but we never really got the heavy stuff. This matches the map I think I made on Friday, where I was talking about the flood threat, how we didn't have one here locally, but down towards Indianapolis and further south, you got obviously we had one. But rivers and streams and all that stuff, they're pretty full right now. We're not in bad shape right now going into the growing season. I mean, we'll get there eventually, but we've got a good amount of ground moisture, whereas 2 weeks ago we were talking about it and we needed the rain. So I would imagine that drought is either going to be gone or it's going to be like a level 0 out of 5. In Newton and Jasper County, you were the driest. Lake Porter, LaPorte counties, there are no water problems right now. And again, it's not always our puddles that we see or our gardens or our yards. it matters what's happening down below us, right? Because we have a lot of groundwater that goes down. It goes into wells and in our aquifers and stuff like that. And our reservoirs need filled up and stuff like that. But most of us are dealing with some really sloppy uh, yards outside. I mean, that's if you have a dog, I'm so sorry. I mean, there's a lot of mud coming in. We have kids, and there's just mud tracking in all the time. We're pretty waterlogged right now. So we could use a little bit of a drying out just to let that soak into all the creeks and reservoirs and streams and stuff like that. So here's our pattern. I want to show you the satellite. It's so nice to be able to show a satellite, a visible at this hour. You can see the sun going down out towards the east. But overall, we get a really crystal clear look at the atmosphere. And you can see the system pulling out. Look at this deep flow of tropical moisture that's been coming into it from the south. That's finally going to get cut off. And we've been flirting with sunshine today, but we've also had the clouds kind of lingering. So we've been right on that line of where the clouds and the sun is. But out towards the north, I want to kind of zoom in on this a little bit. This system right here, you notice all of these clouds coming out of Canada. These are cold weather clouds. So these are basically cold weather cumulus clouds that are popping. Whenever you see these lines of clouds coming out of anywhere in the country, you know you've got some really cold air in place. And in this case, they're coming straight out of the north. So we know we've got some kind of air mass change coming in, because right now our clouds are coming out of the southwest, but tomorrow they're going to start coming out of the north. And in between, it doesn't look like much because, remember, there's not a lot of moisture up in Canada, right? It doesn't have the Gulf to supply that moisture. So this is kind of a moisture-starved system, but as it heads south and gets some moisture from the Gulf and just from the United States in general, we're going to see this system develop. And what this system is a potent area of low pressure. Even for this time of year, this is it's got a very wintertime look to it, all right? And unfortunately, it's going to bring some winter time conditions around here. So let's dive into the forecast. So there goes our rain, maybe mixing with and changing a little bit of snow out towards the east tonight. That's with the system that produced all the rain finally getting on out of here. Here comes our potent low. This is overnight tonight. This is now tomorrow morning. This is your morning rush hour. If you're a weather junkie or a radar junkie and you're looking on radar, you're going to see a line of snow off towards the north, like a squall line of snow. There's a chance off towards the north. This may have some snow squall warnings with it. We should get a good burst of snow out of this north of us. This is that potent frontal boundary. So low pressure over here, we're on the cold side of it, and there's this kind of a front. You can draw it here where we go from west wind to a strong northeast wind, all right? And this thing's going to pass tomorrow sometime around midday, as it looks right now. Could be late morning, could be early afternoon, sometime in that window. And it's going to pass. Likely our temperature should be warm enough to support rain initially, and I mean for like the first 5-10 minutes. And then the cold air aloft is going to rush in, and then it'll head down to the surface. Our temperatures are going to come down tomorrow. We're going to see a temperature drop, and any brief rain showers are going to change to snowflakes. And I think we're going to have kind of a wild look at times where snow is spitting and it's just windy and it's just turning colder outside. And you can see what happens. There's some bursts of snow. And what happens in April is that we get almost thunder time or thunderstorm-like snow, like summertime-like squalls or downpours, but they're snow. And the reason why is because that April sun is so much stronger. Not saying we're going to get a lot of sun tomorrow, but the sun peaks that we do get once the system moves through, they heat up the Earth's surface because it's much, much stronger than January and December, right? So as a result, we get more heating, which provides more instability. So we get instability, cold air aloft, all that comes together to support these bursts of snow. So I do expect some squalls at times tomorrow. I don't think any one of them is going to cause too much damage in terms of covering the road or anything like that, but we could have some slick surfaces at times, elevated driveways, stuff like that, and then it would melt off. And then you might get another squall and then it would melt off. But either way, we're going to have some snow showers and a couple bursts of snow tomorrow with dry weather in between. And it's all courtesy the strong cold front that goes south. Notice the north wind. This is now getting into tomorrow evening. And notice how most of it is diurnally driven. So most of it is going to be driven by that daytime heating that causes that instability. And once the sun goes down, we're losing that heating that's rising. And so everything kind of calms down with just a little bit more in terms of lake effect snow left over, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. How much snow are we talking? Not a lot. But notice there are a couple pockets here that the models are saying maybe 1 to 2. I think that could be a stretch. And keep in mind, we might have 1 to 2 that falls, 2 inches that falls in spots, but a lot of that's going to melt off. but not a whole lot because here are temperatures tomorrow. We're going to quickly in the morning here into the midday hours, probably tag 40, 41 degrees. And then once that front goes through, we turn colder. This is now afternoon. We're in the mid to upper or mid 30s actually, and then we drop into the 20s tomorrow night. I mean, this is a really cold air mass for this time of year. It's going to get here fast, and on top of getting here fast, it's going to really produce a punch of cold in here. So tomorrow's kind of a wild day, and I don't want this to sneak up on people if you haven't heard about it yet. I know some of you maybe see some snowflakes in your forecast on your phone, and you're thinking, oh, it's just going to snow a little bit. But we've got this potent system that's going to drive through tomorrow. Again, late morning through early afternoon. We'll see it come in. We'll get a burst of some rain that'll change over to snow. That'll end, and then we'll just get some of these snow showers. They're going to produce some good bursts of snow as well. It's going to be a little windy as well as tomorrow, but that wind backs off real fast as high pressure settles in. We'll be in the mid-20s waking up Tuesday morning. That's our cold spot, kind of the pothole in terms of the forecast. So the big question I'm sure everyone wants to know, when do we warm up again? My goodness, this is ridiculous. And so the first thing I looked at when I got home, because normally, I do weather on the morning show, as I mentioned, and normally Friday morning's the last time I'm looking at weather unless there's something big coming this weekend. I like to give my brain a break, especially after the week of severe weather we had in both my markets. I needed a break from the weather. So first thing I did when I sat down tonight, I wanted to see what changed since Friday. I pull up this map, and this basically shows the flow of air masses. This is a 500 millibar heights. Basically, it shows the flow of where the jet stream is, and you look for ridges and troughs. So I just like to look at this first for long-term patterns, right? So here's our pattern change here. Big trough swings into the eastern U.S. This has the cold air with it, all right? This is tomorrow into Tuesday. The other thing you'll notice is there's a big ridge out west, which is going to slide into the central plains midweek. And whenever you see that, it's like, okay, well, we could get into that soon, right? Well, we do. And you notice how everything kind of flattens out, becomes more zonal. This is Wednesday into Thursday. So anytime you see a zonal flow in the jet stream, that tells you our temperature is going to be around average. Now, our average this time of year is in the upper 50s. So that's fairly comfortable stuff, right? But then things start to change. Friday into Saturday, we get another big ridge out west out ahead of another trough pushing into the western U.S. And that pushes this big bubble of warmth our way. And there you go. I saw this and I said, oh, goody, goody, goody. There's going to be some kind of warm-up coming in here later this weekend into the beginning of next week. And I'll show you that here in a second. But this is great news if you like spring weather, which I don't think too many people dislike that, especially this time of year. So the ridge comes in, but it's pretty progressive with a real sharp trough behind that. And then notice as we go into the extended forecast, there's a couple weird troughs that come towards New England, which prevent us from warming too much. But this isn't a bad look to the weather map. There's a lot of warm air on here, a lot of ridging, and a lot of high heights aloft. So that's all good news. So let's break it down in terms of temperatures. This is the latest GFS run. And remember, this is just a model output. These are actually the numbers that show up on your phone in the apps, okay? This is the exact model output from these models. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but this is what the apps take, and they just feed you the raw data. And so these change a lot, especially in the extended, sometimes not a whole lot. But they'll change a lot, and that's why your phone app changes a lot, especially like days 7 through 10 through 15, however far it goes, because they're just taking this raw data. But again, as a meteorologist, what I do, I don't look at the exact numbers. I look for trends, all right? And this is a GFS, and you notice that we trend cooler to start the week, right? And then we start to moderate this weekend, and then it's picking up on a decent warm-up, but really near average, getting into next week and the last week of April. That's a GFS. I don't rely a lot on it, but I wanted to show that because that's kind of a little bit more tame. Another model we look at is the national blend of models. This takes all the models, puts them together, and it's a good average kind of plot. And you can see, yeah, cool week. We've got some 40s, even upper 30s, maybe on Tuesday with our cold air, remember? And then we start to moderate this weekend, and then we really moderate. There's your Sunday, Monday. It's got 65 and 72 with 60s next week. The older I get, and I don't know how you guys feel, the older I get, the more I enjoy 60s. I used to love 80s, like as a kid. If the temperatures were in the 80s, oh man, it was the best. And then I don't know if it was in college or maybe as a younger adult, 70s became like my favorite. And now I'm just getting even older, and it's like 70s are kind of hot sometimes. And I'm usually doing yard work and like really, working up a sweat in the yard. But I really enjoy 60s now. And so when I see 60s on a map, I'm like, yes, we got 60s in the forecast. But there's that. And then the model that I agree with usually the most is the euro, and this is the euro. Notice it's got obviously a cold week out ahead of us. It is going to be kind of chilly this week, but if we sit tight, this weekend doesn't look bad, and especially as we end the weekend and the beginning of next week, the euro has a nice big warm up with cooler temperatures behind that and spots. Doesn't look like we warm up for long, but overall we're going to be dealing with some warmer air to at least look forward to in the forecast. So in terms of rainfall chances, this is what we're dealing with. Here's our system that passes with the rain changing to snow tomorrow. Tuesday, we stay cold. We're still locked into this trough. Wednesday is kind of a transition day. The GFS shows a snow changing over to rain Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not buying it right now. I'm just showing it to you. And then it does another similar thing with the system next week. So there's our warm up. And then it brings this system in next week with some rain and snow. Yuck, right? So we're just not quite out of it yet. The euro doesn't buy the snow chance. So it has the snow tomorrow, but it's not buying it for that late week system. You see how it comes in there with a cold rain Wednesday into Thursday. So in terms of our forecast this week, we're going to go dry Tuesday but cold. Wednesday, we bring in this next system. So I would go increasing clouds on Wednesday. Again, think about what you're doing. What are your plans on Wednesday? We'll have increasing clouds. We'll likely see rain developing in the afternoon. All right. It's going to be a cold rain too. Could we have snow mixing in? We'll see. It'll be tough to do, but as of right now, I've got cold showers around. And then Thursday, some showers lingering. And then Friday, this upper level trough kind of sits in the eastern half of the U.S., so we may have some showers around from that as it settles east. And then the weekend looks pretty good right now. And we've got dry weather on Saturday, and then Sunday looks good too as we start to warm up. And then here's our next system next week. This one could have severe weather with it as we put our weather antennas up. There is a chance for some severe weather, at least with this system a week from now. All right, I don't see any severe weather this week. You're not going to get it when it's that cold. But a week from now, Monday into Tuesday, we'll have to watch how that system evolves. To me, that looks like the next threat of any severe storms around here. And then there'll be another one behind that right in there. That one a little bit further down to the south. That would probably be a severe threat south of us. But this is now getting into fantasy land where the models aren't so quite as accurate at this point. All right. A week from now, we can forecast storm systems that are coming. We saw the last two severe weather events about a week and a half out, a good 10 days out. And that's why we look in the 10-day range. But now we're getting into the 15-plus day range. So we just kind of look at it for trends. And I don't see a lot, but you notice the colder air just keeps coming in behind these systems. We're not quite ready to unlock that warmth yet and stay there. And we typically don't do that till the month of May. All right. We're still dancing around these air masses in the month of April. All right. So that's all I have for you. I hope that's certainly helpful. I'll put this rain back on here. Someone asked to see it again. That's all the rainfall that fell, and you can see where it was over the last 3 days. It's kind of interesting. All right, let's answer your questions, and then we'll get you on your way here tonight. I appreciate it. We like to keep these shows nice and simple when the weather's simple. I don't want to waste your time. But again, I want you to get something out of it and make sure that you obviously aren't wasting your time in terms of weather knowledge. I want you to know why your app's saying things this week. I want you to know what to expect for the week ahead as you're planning things out, rightfully so. Let's see. Oh, Tracy says, Lola and Gracie are the pups. Sunday dinner. I'll bring the cake. That's awesome. Well, hi, pups. I hope they're doing all right. Let's see. Draga says, do you cover Rochester, Indiana? I don't think I know where Rochester is. Should I? Let me look it up real quick. What county is that in? I don't know every little nook and cranny, but let me look it up. All right, what else do we have? Brenda says, and Brenda, absolutely. So Brenda says, everything greened up really quickly. Yes, it did. Brenda, I'll tell you, that's one of the things that I noticed was that after all this rain, I mean, it wasn't really even the warmth. It was more the rain that really kind of greened things up. And you guys know that Lightning, Draga, we do not cover Rochester, Indiana. It's a little bit further towards the east. But you know, I mean, we could. We'll see. I just the bigger the viewing area that we have. You know, it's a lot more work. It really is. The bigger range we have, and I love keeping things local, not for just a small perspective, but like Northwest Indiana. The reason why I started Region Weather is because Northwest Indiana specifically did not get coverage from Chicago stations, right? I learned that when I left Lakeshore Public Television, and I want to keep it that way. All right, I don't want to cover, and you're not asking this, but I just want you to know, I don't want to cover a bigger area because that takes that local away. All right. We've got all local sponsors here in Northwest Indiana, and you guys are, most of you are local, right? And I want to keep it that way. I don't want to get so generic where it turns into the Weather Channel, where it's vague and we're barely covering the region. We're covering, the whole state or something like that. I don't like that. Like, this is Northwest Indiana centric, and I want to keep it that way. So, and again, I know you're not asking, but I have been asked by people, not in out in Marshall County, but out in the South Bend area. I've been asked by that if we could cover that area, expand, and I don't want to. So there's that. Let's see. Every time we warm up, we pay for it, as in severe weather. Maxwell, absolutely. I mean, any of these systems, if we're on the colder side of things, it's not a bad thing to be. I mean, it's not bad that we're going to be chilly this week because we don't have the severe weather or the heavy flooding rains. But there's a happy medium, right? It'd be nice if we could have nice quiet weather for a little while with at least average temperatures. There's that. Mary, you're still waiting on your new grandson? All right, keep us updated. Fulton County. Yeah, we don't cover that area. Let me see. Is that Fulton County? That is Fulton County. Yes, Rochester is in Fulton County, south of Marshall County. You're right. Let's see. You're welcome. No problem. Honor says, who got you into meteorology? Honor, I did. I mean, I blame the good Lord for getting me in it. But yeah, my parents got cable TV, which was a big deal when I was a kid. And we had the Weather Channel, and I remember I don't remember, but my parents said I would sit and watch radar and satellite and the 7-day. They did, like, I don't think they did the 8 on the 8s or whatever it was then, but they did local forecasts, and I would sit and watch the radar, and it just evolved. It evolved. We had a local meteorologist here. I would watch Tom Skilling. We had a local meteorologist in Cleveland, Dick Goddard, who went on to retire. He had been in the service for a long time, so he was an influence of mine. James Spann down in Alabama was as well. I did an internship with him, and I spent a lot of time with Tom Skilling and the meteorologist in Chicago when I worked at Lakeshore Public Television. We were the small station. I was like the kid, in the candy shop with all these famous people. But yeah, they were all influential to me in high school, even in junior high, or not junior high, in elementary school. I knew I wanted to be a meteorologist, and my teachers did too. They let me draw the forecasts on the board, which was cool, and it became a full-blown publication in high school. I was such a nerd, but I love it. I made a magazine called Today and Tomorrow, which I love that name. I want to use it for something still, but it was called Today and Tomorrow, and it was on the dot printer. So every Sunday night before school, I would print up, I'd type in our DOS computer, and I'd print it on the paper with the little tabs you rip off, and I would make publications with this awful ink that we had, and I would do like a weather poem, I'd do a forecast, and then like an article in there, and I would give it to all the teachers like a little suck up, but it was great. And so that, it was pretty surreal because all my teachers in school knew I wanted to be a meteorologist, and they all supported that, which was great. And yeah, and then I got into retail. So in college, I started a retail job, and I always had a lot of leadership. I was like class president, NHS president, all that stuff. I was such a nerd. But all that being said, leadership's in my DNA, and so I worked in the retail world and became, a member of management, and worked my way up through management. And I worked at a bunch of stores. In Chicago, I worked at Old Orchard. So I worked at American Eagle Outfitters. I worked at Old Orchard. And then I became a store manager, and I was running the North Avenue store, and then I was running the Michigan Avenue store. We had 160 employees, and I got to develop and grow these teenage kids and 20-year-olds, and it was a great job. It was, but I wasn't doing weather. And I remember praying to God. I was just like, God, I really want to do weather. Like, this isn't the career that I wanted. I went to school for meteorology, blah blah blah. And lo and behold, I'm not kidding, like a couple days later, I met a customer. She's like, you're really good at what you do. Your store is great. I really appreciate that. And I was like, actually, I went to school for weather. And she had worked at WGN, and her name was Ovi, and she worked behind the scenes. And she got me, I mean, at the time there wasn't much internet, because again, I'm dating myself. We didn't like have websites and stuff. I mean, stuff was new. All that stuff was new. And so she sent me a list of all the job openings from like the last week, and Lakeshore Public Television was looking for a meteorologist. And so I applied with this awful reel I had, and they hired me, which is crazy. And so I got my start there, and worked there for 6-7 years in Maryville, and that was my first start. But I was doing that. It was part-time, and so I did that, and I was also a retail manager in Chicago. And so I was working 14-hour days every day, and I was living in Chicago, so I'd come back at midnight and try to find parking and go to bed and do it all over again at 6 a.m. Um, and I remember praying to God again on one of my drives homes. I was spent, right? I couldn't do it anymore. I remember praying and I said, God, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. Like, I need you to move and do something. And I am not kidding again, the way God works. The next day, it was the next day or 2 days later, I got a call from this guy in Georgia that had the thickest Southern accent. And he's like, we're looking for meteorologists down here to basically create a weather team. And so I got to use my leadership experience to create a brand of weather because they were starting a station, which was nuts. And that at the time, Lakeshore was ending news. They were just going to radio. So I had to find a job. And so we went down to Georgia for 3 years, and that was amazing. And I remember being down there. We had our first kid, and then we wanted to come up to be at home, which our family's all in the Cleveland area. And so, long story short, but I prayed again, and I'm not kidding. I got a call like 2 days later from Cleveland, and I don't remember applying, and ended up landing that job. And so that's how I got the morning show gig. But it's been an amazing journey. And again, I'm along for the ride. I'm not in the driver's seat at all, but it's been amazing. And I know you didn't ask all that, but that is my meteorology career in a nutshell. And I love to share that story because it's amazing. When we put our faith elsewhere, it turns into amazing things. And so that's kind of where we've been. And region weather has always been something on our, I mean, you know the story. Region weather has always been something that I've got friends and family in the region, and it's been something that has been a proud project of mine from the get-go, because it's like, we need coverage here and we don't get it, and no one's still giving it, and it's just been amazing to work with all of you guys and to have your trust. And it's just been great. It really has been. And I appreciate all of you. I can't tell you how humble I am when you guys tune in on Sunday evenings just to join me to talk weather. Like, I'm humbled by that. That's awesome. And I just hope that you're getting something out of it too. I don't want this just to be, this isn't for me. It's not for me to say like, oh, here's weather, let's get fancy. Like, I want to make sure that you know what your week's going to do. And maybe some of you just like to look at 15-day trends, because you guys could do this on your own. You really could. But I'm humbled by the fact that you joined me for this on days, especially like today, where there's not a lot of weather coming our way. You guys are true family. So just so you know that, okay? All right, you didn't ask for all that, but I'm giving it to you, all right? So I'm very happy to share that story. Cindy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Dragica, absolutely. Brenda, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do love what I do. And again, every day, that morning show is brutal, right? We're up at 2 a.m. Just to get things going. But I'll tell you, that 2 a.m. alarm, I don't hate it, because I get to go do something I love every day. So there's that. Maxwell, that's awesome. That makes me so happy. I'm a mini version of you. Believe in God in thunderstorms. Yeah. Now, Maxwell, we differ there, because I'm scared. This is another thing. I'm giving too much information. I am definitely scared of lightning. All right. I'm a weirdo, and I met someone else in my career that has the same fear as me, which is awesome. I'm scared of lightning. I cannot go outside. I can't use water in the house or anything when it's lightning outside. I walk like this if I am outside. My wife makes fun of me, but lightning is just, to me, it's just awful. You just don't know when it's going to happen or what it's going to strike. And then you watch these videos now, and it's like things blowing up. It doesn't happen very often, but man. So Maxwell, I'm glad you like storms. That's great. Kevin, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I really do, especially from you, Kevin. I do appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for your nice comments. I appreciate that. Diane, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Yeah, Kevin, I knew there was something coming about the Bears. I'm not even gonna give my thoughts. Let's just wait till the season starts. I think it's too soon for that. All right, guys, I'll let you go. I think that's about it. I don't want to hold you any longer than we have to. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We'll be on it all week, obviously. We'll talk about the thing tomorrow going on with some of the snow chunks coming down. But once that's out of here, we should be setting up the stage for a nice warm up later on this weekend. So let's hope that holds. I'll keep the temperatures kind of front and center here this week in terms of the forecast, okay? Don't forget, we're on X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z107.1. Also, regionweather.com. If you haven't signed up for the daily emails yet, go ahead and do that. It's on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll see it. It says sign up for emails. You just get one a day. Sometimes two a day when we have severe weather. Sorry to overload your inbox. I'm just kidding. We don't do that. And we also don't sell you any spam or anything like that, okay? All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great week this week. We're going to eventually get out of this cold air rut. All right, we will. All right, bye.